Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone is ready to start this fantabulous day that we're getting ready to go out here and make some wonderful things happen. I wanted to come to you this morning to talk about grief. We are into the holiday season. We've gotten through Halloween. We're getting ready to come up on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and a lot of us have loved ones that have gone on to be with the Lord, and so we may be experiencing the effects of grief. It typically happens or it intensifies around the holidays because we think about all the memories that we shared with these individuals and they're no longer here. So I kind of want to touch on that a little bit. We talk about there being 5 stages of grief. And so you have denial, you have anger, bargaining, depression or sadness, and then finally you come to acceptance. But you don't go through all these stages in that particular order. You kind of go in and out of certain ones. Now, typically, you will go through the beginning one, will be that denial. And the last one will be finally getting to acceptance. But the other ones you will kind of go in and out of as you continue to grieve. And there's no particular time that you can say, oh, you only can grieve for a year or you could only grieve for 30 days. Everybody is different. And the grief may not be really intense at times. And then other times it may come on you like a wave, and all of a sudden you will start experiencing a lot of sadness, or you may become angry and you're not even sure why you're angry. But it's because you're grieving. Typically, we think about grieving, we think about loved ones. We've lost someone who was close and dear to us. But you could also experience grieving if you have lost a job, if you have a child that you're not getting along with and maybe you're not speaking to that end of that child, or you have a close friend who that relationship has been severed for one reason or another, or you just realize that somebody is not the best person for you to have in your life at this time, and so you need to walk away. You're going to experience grief, you're going to experience loss. If there's something dear, like a material item, you've lost a cherished ring, you're going to experience grief, loss. Even if you lose a pet, I know a lot of people have their pets and their pets are like their children, so they go through experiencing that loss. I'm not going to tell you not to grieve. What I'm going to tell you is to grieve. Go through that process. Feel those emotions. Allow yourself to feel them, but don't get stuck in the grief. Go through it. I remember when my brother passed, and it was just the two of us. That my mother had 2 children. My father had other children, but my mother had two. And my brother and I were extremely close. And when I lost him, which I think now has been over roughly about 15 years, I was going through that grieving process. And for a long time, I could not have pictures of him up in my house. I had a difficult time talking about him. I had a hard time going to our childhood home because everything in the home reminded me of him. Now, where I was in denial was, I would say, it's like he was on a vacation. He was just on a very long vacation and he was coming back. I knew in my mind he wasn't coming back, but that was the way in which I was dealing with it. And then there were times in which I would be sad and I would get down. I would be periods of a little of depression, but they wouldn't last long. So what I did was threw myself into school, of course, raising my child, going to work, all these different things. And gradually I was able to put pictures of him back up in my house and look at him and actually smile. I was able to remember some of our childhood memories, young adulthood memories, and smile. Talk about him and actually smile. And then one day, 9 years later, I remember being in my living room and I was dusting and I picked up one of his pictures and I said, "Okay, God, I finally have come to the place where I'm accepting he's no longer here and he's not coming back." And that was when I officially stopped grieving the loss of my brother. Now, again, I didn't stop living. I didn't stop pursuing, although it was taking that number of years for me to get to that stage and that place of acceptance. I was still going out, pursuing my career, taking care of my child, um, figuring out who I wanted to be and what was my new normal now that he was no longer here. So, again, don't allow anyone to put a timetable on how long you grieve. But what I will say to you is don't stop living in the process. Keep pushing past the pain. Keep pushing past the sadness. And one day you'll come to the other side of acceptance. And you'll continue to thrive and strive and do all the things that you're supposed to do in life. Again, that was just a place coming from my heart because, like I said, I know this is the holiday season and a lot of us are going to be experiencing grief and it may intensify during this time. And so I just wanted to kind of come out and encourage you. You will get to that place of acceptance. Be patient with yourself and allow yourself to grieve. Talk to you soon. Bye.